Hi there and welcome to another episode of the lovely Katawa Shoujo. Except we are, I guess, not playing the lovely ending right now. Because we cleared the lovely one for Hanako. Let's see where this is going. Hanako is more noticeable in her absence than when she is in the room. I feel her empty desk calling out for me. I find myself peering over my shoulder endlessly, hoping that I'm hallucinating and that Hanako will magically appear. She makes sure she's as small a presence as possible when she attends class. And although she had been getting better recently, that fact never changed. Nobody ever pays her any heed in class, and now that she's not here, they don't notice her absence. It's as if she never existed. Lee did say that her skipping class wasn't an unusual thing before I met her, but it's still very off-putting. The bells heralding the end of the school make me jump in my seat. It's only now that I notice Misha is prodding me in the side with her mechanical pencil to get my attention. What do you want? Hello? Sorry. Hello? No. Hello? Is anybody there? I don't remember her voice. Hey, stop that. There we are! Welcome back to Earth-chan! Okay, that's her voice. What are you talking about? You keep on tossing off into space. I was beginning to think that you might be trying to contact the alien life. And I've succeeded. Right, now I can see. Sorry, I said to. I really didn't get much sleep last night, so I don't doubt that Misha's words. I'm not sure whether it was due to my medicines, side effects, Hanako's panic at yesterday, me worrying about her in general, or all three. Yes. I yawned tiredly before resting my chin in my palm, having been reminded of how badly I slept. Hey, are you really alright? Yesterday kinda rattled me as well. Yeah, I guess. I wanted to speak to Hanako again for... Did you see her last night? Yeah, Lee and I talked to her. This may sound a bit weird, but can you tell Shizune thank you from both me and Lily? I know Lee technically didn't thank Shizune, but I could tell by her reaction last night that she wanted to. At least that's how it works out in my head. I think what she just tried to say is, you're welcome. Therefore is signing that, and Shizune's reddened cheeks tell me that what she said was entirely different, and her bluntly flustered expression is amusing enough to make me chuckle. What's so funny, Hichan? Was something we said? No, that's not it. I was thinking about how cute Shizune can be at times. Sometimes. When she doesn't act all, oh, high and mighty and, you know, let's challenge you for everything. Who will eat this pretzel faster? Anyway. You're right! She's really cute when she tries not to be. I noticed that Misha decides not to sign her response to Shizune. Maybe Shizune's rage is enough of a counter to any quantity of cute. Nevertheless, Shizune quickly comes down and signs something else to Misha. Oh, okay, Hichan. She just wants you to come and have dinner with us. Dinner, Turning away from them a bit, lest I be swayed by their pleading smiles, so I begin to move it over. The invitation certainly is not tempting. A takeaway dinner with two cute girls is not a bad thing, after all. I don't remember Lily and Hanako saying to go to dinner. I'm sorry, I have to. I just have to. The thought of Hanako looked at me in the room, for keeps dancing on the edge of my mind. Sorry, I'll have to pass. Misha doesn't sign my response, but Shizune picks up on it easily enough and grimaces in disappointment. She moves her arms, assumedly being some form of either protest or coercion, but stops herself and taps Misha's shoulders twice. Once Misha gives Shizune her attention, the only statement Shizune has on the matter is a shrug. Oh well, it's your choice, Hichan. I promise, I will join you two another time if that helps. Another time, in another episode. Which is not true. Misha perks up at this, but Shizune doesn't share her reaction. With a flick of the head to signal for Misha to follow her away, Shizune simply raises her hands to silently wave goodbye. Bye-bye. As the two make their way out the door, I turn the gesture until they're out of the sight. I think they would be so disappointed, and it makes me feel a little bad for ditching them. Still, I have things to do. Well, I have to make dinner later as well. Great that we spoke about dinner. Thanks, game. I'm totally not getting hungry, okay? The girls' dormitory is especially rowdy today, with a number of girls loudly playing games and watching the television in the common room on the first floor. I can hear their voices even now, standing in front of Hanako's door. It's an odd contrast to the emptiness of the floor she's on. The voices from below make the emptiness feel all the more lonely. I had hopes Hanako would be in class today, especially after the talk with Lily and I had with her last night, but I feel like I shouldn't hold it against her. It was a pretty awful episode, and to have experienced it firsthand must be all the worse. Not knowing what stage she's in, I take a small breath, before giving a few sharp knocks on the brown door. All I can do is stand and wait, doing my best not to feel anxious. As the seconds went on, I began to think she might be asleep and didn't hear me knocking. The door handle rattled before I can raise my hand to knock again for. The door opens a sliver, and I bring in the gap, only just large enough for it to peer through. I'm sure this girl would install a peephole in her dormitory door if only such a thing was allowed. I would do that myself, if I were living in the dormitory and it was allowed. Why wouldn't you? Come on. I just stand and smile at her. I don't think words would really help here, after all. The act is returning kind, with Hanako wordlessly looking at me. The gap's not wide enough to see her expression, and I can only guess what she's thinking. Time passes as we look at each other, the only sound being the disembodied gaiety from the ground floor. I'm not sure how long it takes, but eventually the eye moves away. I keep wondering whether she'll let me in or shut me out until the door slowly begins to creak open. Now that I have full view of her and her bedroom behind, the first thing I notice is that Hanako's hair is quite damp. She's recently showered, which is made even more obvious by the scent of shampoo wafting towards me. What a sweet scent! The look on her face seems one of curiosity, as if she's not really sure what to make of me. Even so, I'm not really all that sure of what she's thinking. It feels as she's gone away for a long time, and having now returned, neither of us knows what to say to the other. Hanako realizes she's staring, looking away awkwardly before turning to the side and gazing at her feet. I decide to take it as an invitation and step past her into the room, closing the door behind me as I do so. I can see her hands fiddling in the folds of the oversized gown that hangs from her shoulders. I try to concentrate on what I want to say, but the scent from her addles my senses. Told you that scent of the shampoo was amazing. To my surprise, it's not me, but Hanako breaks the silence. Why? Because, why did I come here? I was worried about Hanako, so I came here to her room. She let me in, as I had hoped, and then, what? What did I mean to do? What did I mean to say? Panic attack! One, I think I should have not said that. Not in this route, at least. Why did I think this through before coming here? I want to make up for what I feel I caused, at least partly. I want to try and remove the distance I feel between us since then, and to see her happy. How can I do that when I don't know the first thing about her? I wonder if this is how Hanako felt when she saw me lying in a sterile, pastel blue hospital bed. A deep sigh steadies my nerves and ends my stammering. I don't think I've ever felt this nervous around someone before. When I'm like this, I don't think I can lie. Dude, you can't lie ever! Let's face it, you don't know what it means to lie. Even the simplest thing, even a lie that is technically kind of not a lie, is too much for you. Anyway, even if I could bring myself to, Hanako would be see-through it right away. I don't know. I just wanted to see you, I guess. Her fingers stop moving, giving me a little surprise. Looking up at her face, she gives a sweet smile and a nod. That was a satisfactory answer for her. Since you're here, I'd like to play a game of chess with you. I almost hang my head in belief that all she wants to do, after I've been winding myself up so much, is play a game. Looking at her face for a tentative smile perched upon it. I realized that this more than that. She could not have bothered answering the door. She could have shut it as soon as she saw my face. She could have asked me to leave. She could have rejected me at many points, but she didn't. Now, with this calm face, she wants me to play the same game that we played when we firstly spent time alone together. A feeling of relief washes over me. Everything will be alright. Hanako has let me into her world. As long as we can be together like this, I think everything will be alright. It will be my pleasure. And so we played, and played, and played, and Lynx still didn't know the rules of chess. Oh boy, I really don't know. The day of Hanako's birthday party is finally here. To be honest, I'm looking forward to seeing Hanako and Lee in their pajamas again. Hanako's gown has grown me as looking rather cute, for a bit conservative, and Lee's shorts and thin silken top are a lovely combination. But the event is tainted with the memory of Hanako's reaction to it. I still don't really understand what happened, only being able to vaguely guess at the possible reasons for it, but I don't think finding the answer will be as straightforward as asking her. With that in mind, I knock on the door next to Hanako's. Is that you, Hisao? Yeah, it's me. I can hear the pitter-patter of footsteps coming to the door, followed by the sound of the lock snapping open. I don't think I've ever seen Lee's door locked before, and it makes me a little suspicious. Once the door opens, the sight is a little underwhelming for a birthday party. That's enough for. Hanako returns to her seat at the table with a quick smile and a nod, and right now, sun is bouncing from the windows on the freaking apartment complex next, like, you know, on the other side. So I need to do that. Okay. Hanako returns to her seat at the table with a quick smile and nod, leaving me to close, and assuming they wanted to keep that way, lock the door. As I do so, I realize that the scene before me is that of an evening tea party, just like any other between the two. Somehow I don't think I should be surprised. To my relief, Hanako looks relatively calm. The break from class has probably done her good. Yeah, see? Muto was correct. You just need to give her some space, and she will calm down, you know. And given her time to wind down a bit. I take a seat between two at the low table in the center of Lily's room, the brightly colored teapot steaming away between us. A tall brown bag close by Lily's side catches my attention. I covered and try to glance inside it a couple of times, but can't get a good look from here. Looking at Hanako, it seems like she's curious about it as I am. Hey Lily. Lily finishes off the teacup raised to her lips before sitting down and giving me her attention. Yes? I was just wondering about that brown bag. She pauses for a moment, then gives a slightly cheeky smile. That would be Akira's present. Unfortunately, she said she was working and can't join us. Lily leans over and feels out the item inside before raising her arm. I raise an eyebrow as the two items, not one, two, not one, two, rise from the back. The glass necks are grasped by Lily on either side of her middle finger, so that's why she had the door locked. Wine. There are two small foots as the bottles are brought to rest on the table, one red, one white. I want to believe that it's fake, non-alcoholic wine, but if it was, there wouldn't be any need to be this circumspect. Alcohol? Seriously? Are you sure this is a good idea? At least my sparkling giggles. I'm not really convinced that she is. This will be the present from my sister. I know it's a bit questionable, but a little shouldn't hurt. If Lily took serious issue with it, I don't think she'd have agreed quite so easily. That aside, I hit Akira squared as the serious and responsible type. Maybe like an older Lily, but it looks like I was wrong. We aren't even legally able to drink yet. Hey, someone can be serious and responsible, but at the same time, you know, kind of outgoing. I guess Akira is like that. I mean, I would say she just understands that you are not stupid enough, right? Anyway, well, in that case, I won't complain. They don't look bad either. I'm not a connoisseur, but at least their bottles look nice. Apart from a surreptitious glass of wine or two given from my father at family dinners, I haven't really had enough to know what's what. That, and I can't really say that I'm total straight edge. Going by Hanako's expression, she's thinking the same. It is her birthday anyway. Shall I open one? Sure. Okay. My heart skips a bit as I hear 3 sharp bangs coming from Lily's door. Hanako's head flicks around and Lily's eyes close as she listens intently. None of us want to be busted for this. Who is it? Let me in! Sorry. Let me in, I'm cold! Lily lets out a resigned sigh before motioning for Hanako to open the door. She obediently gets up and fuzzes with her cone before moving, apparently still not quite sure of who it is, but trusting enough in Lily to do as she requests. I can just see a blonde, dark-suited figure become visible over Hanako's shoulder as she opens the door. Happy birthday, Hanako! Thank you, Akira. Hanako gives a small bow while twiddling her finger in front of her, so this is Lily's elusive sister. Akira follows Hanako to the table after shutting the door behind her, giving me plenty of time to have a good look at her. She looks to be about the same height as Hanako, and has short blonde hair that's quite roughly cut, but in addition to her rather modest breasts, masculine suit and deep voice gives her quite an androgynous effect. Without further ado, she plops herself down the side of the table across from me. It's nice to have your company after all, Akira. Did work let you off? Yeah, I have to go back there in a bit, but I managed to get enough of a break to drive down. So, this would be Hisao then. A confident smile gets drawn in the direction, so I nod partly in return. Considering she just jumped straight to using my first name, she's much more informal than her appearance would suggest. Wait. If she already knows who I am, that must mean that Liz talked about me with her. I wonder what she said. Sorry. Sorry for not introducing you, Hisao. This is Akira Sato, my elder sister. I see. Nice to meet you. The person in question loudly claps her hands together, making Hanako jump a little bit. Akira notices this and looks at it for a fraction of a second before getting back into her stride. Only now do I realize that Akira hasn't paid Hanako's scars any undue attention. Hanako also seems to be comfortable, if not exactly relaxed, around Akira. Well then, I assume that presents got through. Nobody waiting considering Hisao and the birthday girl look like they're pretty eager. Lee giggles as I awkwardly turn away, a little embarrassed by the fact that I couldn't hide my interest. Hanako's eyes are telling me that she wants to try the wine together with me. So I settle for a look of a badly faint indifference. Akira manages to uncork the first bottle with small effort, and Hanako goes to get some glass before I get to pour the 4 of them full of white wine. That seems like a lot of people have to take care of it. I understand someone else getting the glasses, someone opening the bottle, but why another person has to pour that? Never mind. Anyway, I heard somewhere that white wine has less alcohol than red wine, so I think it would be best to start with. I think we're supposed to check this. Does white wine have more alcohol than red wine? It is actually something that is googled, by the way. There are exceptions, but in general, red wines have more alcohol by volume than white wines. Okay. Go. Here is to Hanako and to Lily's Strip. Let's get wasted. Cheers. Cheers. After the traditional raising of the glasses, we all take sips of the pale yellow liquid. It's something like this. I should have wine right now, actually. It's something like the stuff I've had with my parents, with the fruitiness of the flavor almost entirely hiding the taste of alcohol. Maybe this is what proper wine is supposed to taste like. Then again, it's possible that Akira choose a wine which would be suited to our taste, since none of us are used to alcohol yet. Or at least I hope none of us are. Lynx is. He's not drinking much, but he is. This isn't bad. I was expecting something harsher. If you hadn't liked it, I have a few other varieties you could have chosen from. You sound like you know your stuff when it comes to wines. Only a bit. I'm more of a beer kind of person. Ugh, I don't like that. I have the drinking side down pat for. Wine, yes. Room, I guess, yes. Okay, gin, not really. Whiskey, yes. I think that would be my trio, if anything. Then again, as I said, I barely drink. Anyway, as if to prove her point, she refills her glass before bringing it to her lips and flicking her head back. Hanako and I silently watch as the whole glassful disappears down Akira's throat. I can decide whether to be impressed or put off, but I certainly don't have an urge to imitate the act. Yeah, this is me and my grandfather on family dinners. Let's go with it. And that's it. Then again, sometimes the stuff they are buying is so disgusting that you just have to do it like that. Anyway, but then again, my grandparents actually buy better wine than my parents. Not gonna lie. Like, out of everything they ever bought or I drank with my family on their, dinners, because it happens from time to time, obviously. Like, I feel like my parents had more failures when it comes to choosing wine than successes. Anyway, Lily grimaces slightly at her sister's boast. I know that she's sipping from her glass as she does so far. Yeah, Lynx, what about you? Why are not choosing? Yeah, because I don't organize those dinners, okay? Is it so weird? Anyway, now that Akira's gift has been opened and sampled, shall we move on to ours? Gifts? That's right, we got the presents. It's your birthday after all. This is from me. Lily pulls out the carefully wrapped doll from under a table and passes it to Hanako. Hanako handles the present as if it was glassware, carefully turning it over to remove the tape that binds the wrapping. Eventually the paper falls from the doll, revealing the emerald green of the doll's dress. It's beautiful. I'm not sure what reaction I was expecting from Hanako. The near total lack of dolls in her room made me think that she didn't care about them. But the look in her eyes now is something different. She turns the doll around with the same delicacy she afforded the wrapping, as she was expecting it to fall apart in her hands. I'm glad that you like it. Hisao picked it out, to be honest. Hanako suddenly remembers that she's not alone in the room, and shifts her focus from the doll. Yeah, I like it. Thank you, Lily and Hisao. Actually, I got you something else. I reached into my bag and removed the wrapped chess set. Here you go. Happy birthday. Hanako carefully sits Lily's doll next to her and opens my present with the same care that she showed Lily's. Before long, the checkered squares of the chessboard are visible, and Hanako gently runs her fingers across the carved surfaces. Almost by accident, she triggers the catch to delete, startling herself in the process. She opens it and retrieves one of the grey pieces. She seems as absorbed in the chess pieces as she was in the doll before. They are natural coral, undyed, or so I was told. Thank you, Hisao. No problem. It's your birthday after all. That's right. My birthday. Once again, Hanako's reaction is at low, but she carefully closes the board. I notice Akira's smile beginning to look very strange. I wonder if she knows anything about what happened in class, given that she seems to be treading on eggshells around Hanako. I'll have to play you again sometime. Yeah. I'll make sure I play you first. Why does she have to be so precious, man? The fact that she has bad end just... it disturbs me. She takes the doll she receives from Lily and holds it to her chest together with the small chessboard, putting the piece on top. The act seems to settle her down somewhat, and we just sit in silence for a while. I think it's one of the few times I've seen her genuinely happy, cradling the friendship of two people to her chest as tightly as she can.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Hisao.
In the process of thanking us, Hanako drops the chess piece and fumbles a bit in her rush to retrieve it. Once she finds it, Hanako puts the chess set down and nervously gulps at her wine. It's as if she is the real world suddenly rushed back into her consciousness, and her fast escape from it was in a glass. Hey, easy there. You shouldn't drink it that fast.
It is a party, Hisao.
Despite saying this, there is a slightly concerned edge to her voice. Eventually, acquiescing, Lee proceeds to follow Hanako's lead, for not as eagerly. She looks to be taking small sips from her glass and letting the wine settle on her tongue before swallowing. I said that is probably the best approach and do the same myself. Since then again, I already explained why I wouldn't do that. Anyway, since this is a kind of a going away party for you as well, I hope you enjoy your trip, at least a little, Lily. Hopefully your aunt will be okay.
I hope your aunt is okay too, Lily.
The entire slightly taken back by Hanako's fervor to wish Lily well, despite her own family situation. I'm not impressed.
My, thank you both. I'll be sure to convey your thoughts to my family when I meet them. It will all be fine in the end, Lily. Don't worry about it.
Since the room's mood has become noticeably more sullen, I decided to try and move things along. Well then, shall we start on the cake? My tentative suggestion has the intended effect, everyone lightening up considerably.
Yes, please. Cake? I didn't know there was any cake.
I picked one before I came along with some snacks.
Well done, Hisao. At least one of us remembered to bring one.
Everyone seems to welcome distraction, so I retrieve the cake from my bag and start cutting it up. Cakes are super good, yeah. The birthday cakes especially. I prefer cakes over pies, yeah. Mixing wine and chocolate cake isn't something that I thought would work well. It would work well. But none of us seem to mind. Conversation is temporarily suspended as we start to eat. I was initially wary of this idea. After Hanako's panic attack, I expected the worst from tonight, but I think Lee's idea of giving her good memories of her birthday is working. That and also having it shared with her going away party. From Hanako's reaction to her gifts, I can tell she was really appreciative. Hanako tries to pour herself another glass of wine but ends up spilling some on the table. She's getting out by now, so considering that she's never had an alcohol before, it's no wonder she's feeling a bit lightheaded.
Sorry, Lily. I didn't mean to make a mess. I
mean, to be fair. I mean, it's crazy that I actually have a good head despite not liking alcohol. I have my reasons, which I don't necessarily want to share. But, yeah. Anyway. Then again, given that moment, me having good head also always surprises everyone. Then again, maybe it's because of my personality. I'm like, you know, everyone expects the crazy guy, basically, that's super loud around to be super well with alcohol, but it's usually the other way around, I would say. Anyway.
Sorry, Lily. I didn't mean to make a mess.
I mean, it's not true to all the cases, but, you know. Anyway, don't worry, I've got it! Lily reaches sideways and gently takes the fusing Hanako in her arms, giving me a pause.
It's okay, Hanako. I'm just happy you're here.
Okay, so Hanako is not taller than Lily at all. Why did I think at some point that she was? Maybe it's because of the characters where the, you know, normal dialogue and there is no CG, that they were at the same height. Maybe because of that. Whatever. Hanako gives only a faint nod in response. It's fitting, I suppose, that Lily would be the one to support her like this. I have no idea what Hanako would be like if she hadn't. I mean, given the situation, let's say Lily is not around, Someone else would be her neighbor. I mean, depending on the personality of the neighbor, it might play out very differently, right? I mean, there is no need to really try to imagine that, I think. Seeing the two like this make me appreciate the fact that I'm privy to such an intimate moment. Even Akira can't help but smile at the sight. I never have thought I'd manage to find new friends so quickly, and I'm all the more thankful that of all the people, these two are the two I befriended. They slowly break off from one another, Hanako regaining herself somewhat while I quickly get myself back on task. I find the towel among Lee's tea set and start mopping up the spillage. By the time I finish, however, Hanako and Lee have managed to uncork the other bottle and have topped off their glasses.
Looks like you're enjoying the wine then. Just don't go too crazy with it after this, mind.
We all do feel nods and agree, but her reminder feels a bit silly given that she's the one supplying underage people with alcohol. Well, it's fine. The second glass of wine goes down a lot quicker than the first, and before any of us knows the second bottle is empty while Akira is helping us finish them off, Hanako looks to be almost equaling her in the amount she's had. Hanako is wasted. And you can see that. Lily definitely feels some alcohol. Akira is like, well, those two are lightheaded. Anyway. My head feels a little light, but I think I've managed to gauge my own tolerance surprisingly well. Hanako smiles lazily. Toying with her doll's hair, I think it's pretty safe bet that, you know, she hasn't moderated herself as well as I. I don't think it was Hanako's intention to get this drunk, but it seems that the alcohol hit her all at once. She has a very light frame, something which wouldn't help her handle her booze all well either. I mean, that's the thing. You have to... The moment you start drinking, for the first time for example, you have to actually think, you know, find out what's your limit and so on. I mean, and you do it basically by drinking slowly, I would say. Lily cradles her glass, running a finger around her rim. The rim. Her cheeks are rosy, but she's managed to avoid looking woefully drunk. Akira is, as I somewhat expected, largely unaffected. Her smile might be a little wider than before, for maybe? Yeah, this is my reaction to alcohol. I just get wide smile. That's it. I become more, you know, talkative and such, but that's it. That's crazy, but that's it. And I still think straight. That's a good thing. Hanako suddenly hiccups and accidentally knocks over the doll. I think I constantly say the same thing when this scene appears. Well, anyway, I mean, maybe someone haven't watched the previous episodes. Maybe they don't plan to watch previous episodes. You'll find out from this one. Watch the previous episodes, please.
I think I should maybe go to bed. Thank you, Hisao. Thanks, Lily and Akira.
She slurs Akira's name pretty hard, barely avoiding breaking out into a giggle midway through. She's completely plastered, and I can decide whether I should feel a little bad or not for being amused at the stage she's in. It's funny, for situations like that are funny. It really is bizarre to see her acting so carefree. A shame that it's only with the help of alcohol.
Here, let me give you a hand.
Akira begins to get up to help Hanako out, but she stops when Lily gives a sharp cough.
Hisao, would you please?
Huh? Akira looks a little surprised, and I have to admit that I am as well. I don't mind the request at all, let alone when it's said with such a smile. It just comes rather unexpectedly. Sure, no problem. I pick up the chess set and help Hanako stand up. I do feel somewhat responsible for her, considering that other than Akira, I'm probably the most sober person in the room. She nurses the doll in one hand and offers me the other. We stumble out of the door, into the hallway, into Hanako's room. Hanako bumped into me a number of times on the way. Inside the room, I flick on the light as Hanako turns her attention towards a shelf on her dresser. An elegant doll is sitting on it, staring into the bare room.
There you go. You'll be safe in here.
Oh, there's the other. I didn't realize until now, but the other doll is probably the present from Lily from a year ago, right? Hanako gingerly places the doll next to the other one and straightens its dress. They sit in silence, hair and clothes perfectly arranged. Just like the teapot in Lily's room, they serve as a distinct contrast to the dull white and greys that permeate her bedroom. Satisfied that her dolls, her only two real possessions, are safe, Hanako takes a step back and stands up, staggering severely. I step forward to catch her if needed be, but she regains her balance without my help. For a while, both of us stand in silence as Hanako looks downwards toward the cupboard. After a minute or two, she begins to sway a little from side to side. It's very off-putting. Are you going to be alright? Hanako raises her head and turns around to me as if she's only just remembered I'm also in the room. What's unexpected is that she takes 2 steps towards me and wraps her arms around my body, her head coming to rest against my chest. And I can feel my heart beating as all of my senses feel like they're coming alive again after their deadening through the previous drinking. The smell of wine on her breath, the feeling of her fingers through my clothing, the scent of her hair underneath my chin. My hands remain out in front of me, not daring to touch her. The temptation is there to hug her, to embrace her, to tell her everything will be fine. But this feels wrong. Really wrong. Hanako?
But I want to stay with you and Lily.
Hanako's slurring reminds me a bit of Misha. She probably wouldn't be pleased to hear that. You know I can't. I mean, you're a girl and I'm a guy after all. At least to sleep. She gives a disappointed groan. It's so strange for her to act so forward. Don't worry. I'll see you again tomorrow, okay? I decide to rest a hand on her head to reassure her, deciding that this is as far as I'll allow myself go in terms of physical contact with her while she's in this state. Hanako's head nuzzles against my chest. It makes me feel all the more uneasy with the situation, and as her arms tighten around my back, I quickly decide to bail out. I rest my hands on her shoulder and give a firm but gentle push. Her grip tightens a little as I do so, but she eventually breaks off.
I don't want you to go.
Hanako, please. Akira and Lily are going to start thinking that weird stuff if I take too long here. It's perfectly true too. I really don't want to take any chances and I feel very uncomfortable right now. I shouldn't try to read anything into the way she's acting right now. I read that aside from alcohol or inhibitions, people can react to getting drunk in many different ways that don't necessarily reflect reality. And even without that, there are plenty of ways to interpret what she's saying, as long as she's safe. I'm going to try and get out of her room as soon as possible. Hanako hiccups again, looking a right mess as she stands and looks downcast in the center of the room. Her personality changed as she drank more and more, and now all alone in her room with me. Her previous brightness seems to have left her. Was she just acting upbeat to make sure we didn't worry? Even if she was, what could I possibly do to her? For her, since I do exactly the same thing in regards to my own condition. Distance myself from my thoughts, I eventually managed to corral Hanako towards her bed. For her attempts to aim the wild cheats on it end up accomplishing little. Sorry about tonight, Hanako. I know you probably won't remember any of this, but happy birthday. I'm sorry couldn't more for you. She looks up at me for a moment. I have no idea of what I said actually got through to her, but any chance to ask is lost as her eyes peacefully close. I suddenly leave before quietly backing away from her and leaving the room, flicking the light switch off as I go. I hesitated a little before opening the door to Lee's room again, quickly rehearsing what I should say if I get questioned about Hanako. After a few seconds, I still can't come up with anything, so I just barge in. I open the door and make sure to close it behind me. Lest any passing students catch a glimpse of the wine before turning my attention to the 2 girls at the low table. I grasp casually smiling, as is Lily. I welcome the change from the mood in Hanako's room.
Is that you, Hisao?
Yeah, I got Hanako to her bed. She's sleeping now.
That's good. I have to admit I hadn't thought that she'd drink quite so much. Hey, it's fine. She's all safe and up in bed now. With the way she is.
She awkwardly trails off, for Lily and I would hardly protest. For someone so anxious and fearful, drinking would give an easy out from those constant feelings. I wish I could do more for her. I feel useless. Looking at Lily, I think back to what I asked myself in town. My relationship with her is that of a friend, and has only ever felt that way, but now I think I know why. Lily's been there for both Hanako and me since I first met her, but she's like that for everyone, trying to do her best to make them feel better. With that in mind, then what's the bond between me and Hanako? After rescuing our relationship following the panic attack I inadvertently triggered during class, I feel like we're back to being friends, but she's on my mind more and more. I can't say I view any other girl in quite the same way, but maybe it's just normal reaction to someone acting like this. Say, Akira. She yawns before looking at me. It is getting pretty late. You know about what happened with Hanako, don't you?
Yeah, Lily told me. I negotiated pretty hard for a break so I could calm down and help make her birthday be brighter. We get along pretty well.
It's surprising to hear that from someone as extroverted as her, but if Hanako came to know her through Lily, maybe she had time to get used to Akira.
And on that note, I'd better get going. Already going to be late as this. But it's already so late. Sorry, we got a bunch of work drop on us, so overtime it is.
As long as it's paid, it's okay. Kind of. She levers herself up with a grunt and heads past me towards the door. Just before she leaves, she turns back towards us.
You haven't forgotten about the time for the flight and all the rest. Don't worry, I have everything ready. It's just a matter of packing when it gets closer to the time of leave. Take care. I'll see you guys later.
And with that, she disappears through the door with her hand held high in farewell. You're serious? It's nothing, alright? I probably should have thought that comment through before saying it. Regardless, Lily seems quite amused at my appraisal. You okay after all that drinking? Not wasted and just hiding it well?
I assure you, I am quite alright. I can moderate myself. You seem quite self-possessed as well, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, well, I guess your moderation applies to me as well. Without hesitation, I take a seat at the table in front of Lily. I want to address this directly, if for no other reason than to settle my own thoughts. I've been meaning to ask this, but it took me a while to make up my mind.
Do you have any idea about what triggered that panic attack? I guarantee it was something to do with her birthday, but don't know anything anymore. Anything more.
Even Akira was being really careful around her, so I assume she knows as well. Lee's smile drops. The guarantee of her birthday party now well and truly over.
To be honest, I'm not sure of all the details myself. Hanako told you that she was in a house fire, right? She told me as much after we met and spent a lot of time together. Other than that, she quite simply never told me.
She never told you?
Assuming the worst, what does she have to look back upon? A life of isolation, probably even the death of her family. Maybe even going as far as blaming her existence for their deaths.
Even thinking about what little I know of Hanako's past is bleak. To have lived through all of that and to live on with those memories must be infinitely worse. Lee looks similarly depressed, but I can see her rebuild at least some of her composure before my eyes. I get a feeling that both of us are talking more frankly than we might otherwise do thanks to the wine, but feels like just talking this out is a good thing anyway. I feel kind of helpless about it when it's put like that. What can I possibly do for her?
I'm not wholly sure I should tell you this, but Hanako told me that you visited her the day after we both went to check on her. I must admit that I did not predict she would take such a step so quickly after what happened, nor did I expect you to. I think it was a nice gesture on your part.
It wasn't much really. I would do the same thing. It's just, at times like this, I sometimes think it would be better if we never had to leave Yamaku or at least this town. Things are so much easier without others around. I didn't expect Lee to look quite so troubled at what I say, and for a while she looks lost in thought. She moved to speak but stops herself as soon as she does. And rethinks. It's a bit of putting.
I think. Tell me, do you have anything planned for Friday evening?
No? Isn't your flight to Scotland next day? I don't think it'll be a good idea to tire yourself out before you get even there. But before you even get there.
I'll be alright. You didn't worry about me. I do this tomorrow evening, but I imagine Hanako will be feeling rather off for a while.
Yeah. The thought of how she's going to be tomorrow makes me grimace. Maybe we should count our blessings that she didn't end up simply throwing up from drinking so much while having such a low tolerance. Well, I'm going to be able to attend whatever you're planning. What is it?
Nothing unusual, I assure you. Just a little excursion. And you'd better be off, Hisao. I can't imagine it's long at all until curfew is here.
Oh, damn, the curfew. I'd completely forgotten! I look at the clock next to Lee's bed, but it seems to be some oddity without written numerals, which I suppose makes sense given Lee's condition. Not wanting to risk a haughty security patrol giving me a scolding, I get up and decide to go to my dorm, as she says. Well then, I guess I'll see you in Hanako tomorrow, assuming the both of you manage to get up in the morning.
Thank you for your concern, Hisao. Until then.
With that, I make my way out her door and into the hallway. I hope her idea will be a good one. Maybe we'll find out in the next episode! Anyway, for now, hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you in the next episode exactly tomorrow. Coming up tomorrow. And I wish you a wonderful day and night. Bye bye.